GGG made one crucial mistake, which is that showing us all this, now it's just ruining everything for all of us until the 6th. It's like your parents coming out before Christmas and being like, hey, here's a box. It's got a present in it. And I'm going to tell you exactly what's in the present, and you're going to love it. But you're not allowed to open it or even look at it. You know what's coming, but you can't touch it. It's teasing us, dude. Yo, Path of Exile himself. What up, everybody? We're going back through the class ascendancies right now. Honestly, this one looks like... I was going to play Warrior, but the Chronomancer is looking kind of disgusting. The ability to go back in time looks absolutely insane.
She literally has the ability to stop time with time freeze.
The coolest move, I think this right here was the peak of the live stream for me. When I saw this, I cannot believe this. What?
Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities. She can teleport back to a previous location, resetting her life and mana back to what it was. Or with Time Snap, she can reset all her cooldowns and cast all her spells again.
What? This to me looks like the absolute peak excitement. Can you imagine you're about to die, okay? You're playing hardcore, you're about to die, and then you freeze, and then you go backwards in time. The dopamine, the adrenaline rush, I guess not dopamine so much, but the adrenaline rush you'll have at almost dying, holy shit.
Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities. Using Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a previous location, resetting her life and mana back to what it was. Or with Time Snap, she can reset all her cooldowns and cast all her spells again. On the Warrior, you can choose between the Warbringer or the Titan.
Okay, so this was my first pick, was I was going to go Warrior, and seeing the totems look kind of good. I didn't see the Ancestral Totem before, but the Ancestral Totem being able to cast like whatever skill you want looks like it could be kind of OP. I don't know if it only casts like Warriors skills, or can I actually put like skills from other classes in it? Can be kind of nuts.
The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your...
Okay, proc spirits when you summon a totem. Is there only one spirit, or does like every totem have a different spirit? This was the class I was originally going to go, so seeing the totem, I'm kind of curious about that.
Totems. With Jade Heritage, you can encase your body in a protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks.
That looks like that would be nuts for... Until it breaks. How much HP do you get from that?
You can encase your body in a protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks.
That seems disgusting. Since I'm thinking about going hardcore, wouldn't being able to just stop all damage be really good? Two-handed weapons would seem OP. Yeah, and you got the Golem. They showed it earlier. It's like Giant's Blood, right? Where you can get a two-handed weapon in each hand, or a two-handed weapon plus a shield. Looks insane.
Giant's Blood, which allows you to wield two-hand weapons in a single hand. You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them.
You know, I just realized if we can make our own unique item from the puzzle box GGG sent, what if we make a shield that counts as a two-hander, and then you can Giant's Blood, so you can do the double shield dream. You know what I'm saying? 2x two-hander shields. You make a two-handed shield, and then you Giant's Blood, and then you have double two-handed shields. A four-hander shield combo.
The Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker, every slam is a chance to create an aftershock. With Crushing Impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease.
Okay, this was my original plan, because I wanted to go two-handed stun mace. Every time I did the test for it, I wanted to do two-handed stun mace, because you can like kind of chain CC bosses in a way, which makes me want to go Titan, but I feel like Sorceress looks... Well, and there's the Bloodmancer, right? Like the Witch Bloodmancer. Now I'm between three classes. I thought for sure I was locked into Warrior, but now I'm like between three classes.
With Surprising Strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With endless munitions, every attack gains an extra projectile. With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack. But be careful, she loses them when getting hit. With Eagle Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy. Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison.
The flasks are actually kind of disgusting. This is like Poisonous Concoction, right? Which we did a build for this in PoE 1, and Poisonous Concoction's actually pretty fun. I wonder if it's very similar to the way PoE 1 was, where you don't really need a very good weapon for it. if that's the case, this might be like a good leveling
She
class.
can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage. Contagious contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while overwhelming toxicity doubles the.
And then you still have the same thing from last time where you can actually spread poisons, which is going to be really good for dot builds, right? I hope this means there's going to be like a Mamba build in the
number of
game.
stacks they can be infected by. Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies.
Being able to attack while moving
The
would be
Witch
pretty
can
nice.
ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage of the Infernalist.
So the third ascendancy that's unannounced has got to be a minion ascendancy, right? We're all agreeing on that because this is like an Infernalist, and then you have the Blood one, which are both like caster style classes. So there's got to be, for the third ascendancy that's still like to be determined, I'm assuming that would be like a Necromancer class that's yet to be launched or something. I mean, it's got to be a Necro, right? We all agree with this. You would think, right?
With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage. Using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies.
Seeing all this flame stuff makes me think Pox. Shout out my boy Pox.
She can also transform into a literal demon. While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery. She can also become a Blood Mage, a master of life and energy.
Okay, this one made me normally Witch was not a class I was going to play. It was kind of on the bottom of the list of what I wanted to play. But after seeing this one with the demon form, plus it kind of reminds me of like Vladimir from League of Legends, where you're constantly like balancing your HP, like costing HP, bringing it back. That seems like pretty fun.
All Blood Mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana. But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants. Once you've got a significant amount of life, you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage.
Wait, hold on. 1% increased critical damage per bonus 20 life. Life strength stacking build incoming? That's just increased damage though? Yeah, that's a good point. It's not more. Well, increased critical damage translates to more damage, doesn't it? Because crit damage is a multiplier. Is that not how that would translate? Okay, we'll have to look into how crit actually ramps, looking into PoE too. When I was doing my tests, I never played with crit. I was playing stun mace like Warrior Giga Chad stuff.
A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an invoker.
Ang build.
With elemental expression, the invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the Blizzard or I am the Thunder to specialize in cold or lightning. And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar. Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments. Some monks choose to reach into the darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be used.
This just seems like the Jedi Sith class, dude. You're like good guy Jedi Aang, or you're bad guy Dark Sith.
Utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage, and can...
Chaos resistance is doubled. 10% max res. Yeah, that is kind of crazy, actually.
Damage, and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well.
Mana leech is instant. And didn't they change the one? No, they showed mind over matter. And didn't, instead of it being split like it was in PoE 1, it says all damage is coming out of mana? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but didn't it say that mind over mana is all damage is coming over it? So if you have instant mana leech plus mind over mana with this character, seems like it could be like kind of good, yeah?
Another node you can take is Waking Dream, which allows you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons. There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to...
Okay, this one where it like does up to 30% insta hit. This part looked disgusting because you get 30% insta hit on potentially up to a boss. I don't know how the RNG stacks out. I don't think they really explain it. We gotta look at the skill tree in a second. But then if you have Colleen also, and I'm assuming it's still 10% in the game, maybe you can modify it to 20, who knows. But let's say it's 10% and you hit 30%, that's basically 40% of the HP pool just removed, so you only have to do 60% of the boss's actual damage. So isn't that just like a 40% cut off?
Become a witch hunter.
Colleen's now 5% on unique monsters. Oh man, when did they announce that? Only 5%? That is kind of a bummer of a nerf.
With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky.
Yeah,
this is great for hunting powerful bosses. And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration.
Okay, how much does Witchbane actually do? Enemies have a maximum concentration equal to 40% of their maximum life. Break enemy concentration on hit equals to 100% of damage dealt. Enemies regain 10% of concentration every second if they haven't lost concentration. What the hell is concentration?
Concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do.
There it is.
You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly.
Okay, this one looked disgusting. You're literally modifying just gems. This reminds me of Scion a bit, like just a good base class you can kind of build maybe anything in.
In your flesh. Integrated efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Thermatological infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock up more and more support gems. Adaptive capability allows you to use any color of gem without worrying about attributes, while crystalline potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character. So those are the ascendancy classes for the start of early access.
So I'm going to do a poll here. I'm legitimately curious what the breakdown is and what class you guys are going to play. Every time I've done this so far, most people have been voting witch, but now that we've actually seen the ascendancies, I'm going to put in here what class you're going to play, and we're going to do a poll on it. I will be playing, I think, warrior, but maybe mercenary. I'll put my vote in, and let's see what people say. Okay, so monk, interesting. Monk, mercenary, sorceress, witch, warrior, ranger. I would not have guessed monk would have been like the... I would not have guessed monk would have been the major one, to be honest. 80 votes on monk, 70 for mercenary. Sorceress going fourth, even. Witch taking... Of course, Witch had some pretty cool... Yo, I would have thought after this announcement, Sorceress would have been higher. Considering that Sorceress had the chronomancy with the time slow and the reverse and all that, I thought chronomancy looked super fun. Warrior seems to be the objective correct decision. You know, big Giga Chad two-handed. Two-handed, as a matter of fact. Double fisting is what I call that. But what class you're going to play going to monk is wild to me. Because monk flicker, true. You know, the pacing of the monk gameplay seems pretty fast considering you're warping around to people. There's like the flicker strike build they show there. I think chrono looks great, but difficult to master. Chrono seems like an oh shit button. So monk, then mercenary, then witch, then sorceress, then warrior, then ranger. Man, ranger really has a fall off. This must be because of the ascendancy. Like the ranger didn't really have like what I would say like a wow factor on the sales pitch for the ascendancy. You got additional projectile, which is good, and you have the pathfinder, which allows you to throw the potions, but they didn't have like this giga wow factor, right? Which is like, oh my god, that seems amazing. It just kind of seemed like a class, you know, like a ranger. It doesn't have like this, it's not like a car with a giant wing on the back. It's the Camry. Reliable, old faithful, maybe not so flashy. I think when people are looking at showcases, they want to see something flashy. Though, to be fair, the monk wasn't really that flashy either. It definitely seemed like it had some builds that could be interesting. Mercenary doesn't surprise me so much. Monk being so high does actually surprise me. I want to see the actual in-game again. Let's go, and here we go.
In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier, which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face.
Oh my god, we're gonna have to watch this a million times to figure this out.
To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse.
Okay, so waystones are basically maps, but the maps are modified by each of these areas.
Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items.
Okay, so
Adding
just
prefix
like
mods
here.
will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them.
So getting more waystones requires you to ramp the danger, basically, or else you run out of waystones and you have to go farm your first waystone. So that's how you get more maps.
But it will require you to take on larger challenges.
And actually sustaining waystones, like AKA the maps, are going to be seemingly even more important, because if you die once, you get booted out. That's what they said in the Q&A. So because of that, you're really going to need to be able to maintain your waystones, because you're constantly going to be losing them, right? If you're dying, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I die in PoE. So, I mean, you'll lose your map when you die. It's going to be kind of scary to invest in a map if you can only die once.
Explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. These cities are constructed by different peoples of...
The cities actually look pretty good. This reminds me of Civilization a bit. I don't know if you guys ever played Civilization, but kind of the layout of the map and the way it looks with the nodes, and then these cities kind of remind me of Civilization.
Breaklust, and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later.
How can this be possible that it's infinite? Because you see how there's fog around it, and when you put stuff into the towers, I forget what they're called, you put some kind of thing into the tower, and it shows what's around there. It's generated as you go out.
You may have noticed while looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them.
This is a nice change, because in PoE 1, if I want to focus on the bosses, it's like it takes up one of my Atlas spots, and before we had the 3, it was hard to be able to kind of get everything in at the same time, especially if you don't have all the Atlas points yet. So being able to have your own like boss hunting tree was nice to hear.
For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content.
Yeah,
we will be
nice.
showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets. Soon your Atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains.
So you can modify both the tablets and the maps that go into there, and your Atlas tree. As far as I can tell, there's 3 different things that you can modify to modify your maps.
In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to rarely juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets.
And then not only are you doing that, but you're multiple stacking the towers. Waypoint, juicing the waypoints. And then if you noticed when you put the waypoint thing in there, it had spots for other things you could throw in there. So I wonder if that means you can further modify it, right? By adding even more in there. And then you have multiple towers overlapping, and then you have the Atlas tree. It's going to get pretty juiced, man. And then, so my understanding of this too is you have these bosses, these pinnacle bosses, uber bosses, whatever we're calling them. I don't know. I'm assuming pinnacle seems to be the term. And then you have, I believe they said 4 different tiers of the boss also. So it's almost like map tiers for the boss specifically. And tier 4 he said was going to be pretty hard, if I remember that correctly. Did he say how many pinnacle bosses we are actually going to have? Because if this is just one of them, I don't remember him saying the other. They had like the teaser that looked like the Trial Master behind it or something like that.
Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the Breach section of the Atlas Tree.
I'm actually glad about the Atlas Tree separation. I felt like the Atlas Tree was pretty complicated, and I say I'm newer to Path of Exile because I only got 1,300 hours in it at this point, which is still the tutorial, as we all know. So when I look at the Atlas Tree and trying to figure it out, it's stressful, and I'm talking Path of Exile 1. The Path of Exile 1 Atlas Tree is a stressful in a way that the passive tree is not. Like when I'm building my character, the passive tree, I'm like, oh, cool, like my character is getting stronger or whatever. When I look at the Atlas Tree, I just feel like I'm making mistakes. So the ability to, like, I want to work on this one and I level up this one, and I work on this one, level up this one, etc. I don't know if you guys are fans of a game called like RuneScape. I'm a huge old school RuneScape fan. One of the things I like about that is I can go do like mining, and then I'm leveling my mining a bit. Now I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go level my wood cutting. I got my wood cutting up a bit. And so it allows me to like slowly progress all of the things. And my understanding is we can basically progress all of the things in this one. So we don't necessarily have to be 100% you're only a Breach Andy. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's more things to level in tandem, but I don't feel like I'm so limited to like, okay, I only have an expedition build or something. Like I can kind of like, I'm going to work on this tree. Now I'm going to go work on this tree. Now I'm going to go work on this tree. And I feel like I'm working on all of my different character progression periods, which is something that I like significantly more than feeling like I'm okay. Well, I only am going to learn expedition this league. It's like I can be like, I'm going to work on expedition now, and then I get bored in an hour. Okay, I'll work on breach, etc. Massively
these points will make breaches and the breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats in Breakfast.
As soon as I saw the hand fall and kill him, it flashed back to like Super Smash Bros. On the N64 fighting Master Hand and getting bitch slapped. Thoughts on if you die a map, you brick it? I don't mind, because there is a certain percentage of get good that I think should be related to Path of Exile. I do think that it will probably bum people out who end up dying and they're like, I just juiced up a map, but then you're going to have to learn to not juice a map beyond your means, which I think is a fine skill set to have to learn. It's probably also good in the economy, I would assume, because it's going to make it where it's not as easy just to farm stuff and like juice maps and then die and go right back in. I can't tell you how many times I've watched streams where someone has like an ultra giga juiced map and they like go in and die in literally half a second, then they go back in and like they blow up the map and then they die again, but they're farming like $1 bajillion, or divines or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I would say that being able to die like immediately, or not being able to die immediately and go back in and still pick up your loot's probably a good thing. I'm just kind of think from an economy standpoint, it would probably be good. I like the semi-hardcore approach. Makes me feel less bad about playing softcore. Yeah, I actually like that too. I also think the 6 portal defense thing's maybe a little bit weird. Like it does feel a little bit weird to be like, I can suck 5 times and still be fine. So I don't necessarily mind you die once the map's over. I do think it's going to make you be more concerned about the waypoints you have and make sure you're being able to maintain them, etc. I'm curious whether or not the amount of waypoints you have coming in versus the amount of ones you're spending, like how that balance is going to go. Because it might feel pretty bad if you're running out of the waypoints all the time. You constantly have to like farm them or something. But if you get the balance just right, it can feel pretty good. It adds more weight and importance to it. So that's just my thoughts on it. Answer your question.
Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod.
Okay, I missed this part. There's so much I missed this part in the beginning. I didn't realize you could go... They have like exalt versions of essences.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the currencies that are commonly found in Rayclast for modifying items,
So that's going to be disgusting. So you can do like a normal essence to hit it one time, get the item you want, then you augment it to get another line, right? Then you use the one to basically do a targeted rego, and then you exalt it and hope you get what you want on it. That's the crafting seems like it's both simpler but also more effective.
and we can get a very nice pair of boots indeed. These are special items that allow for meta crafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes?
God, this is the part where my like monkey peanut brain is going to have to understand craft. This is the part where we all just sit here and wait for someone to come out with a crafting guide, and then we watch it. That's what this is. This is me like, okay, skip ahead a year until someone's figured this out for me.
This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs.
Okay.
Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to buy...
But, okay, add a socket, but not the only way for gear to have sockets, because the one that he corrupted before that already had a socket on it. So it can change the sockets just like it can in PoE 1, but you can already have a socket. Because that was the one part I was trying to get the first, but it blew past it so fast the first time. All right.
Bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to...
It bypasses how many you can... Okay, so maybe you hit... Okay, so I get it. So we make an item, we get like a magic... So the new crafting is like, we get an item, a good base or something. You like magic it, you regal it, you hit it with the exalts, you get all the lines you want. Then you bring it up to however we add the maximum number of sockets, and then you slam with the valve, and you pray to God the valve both gives you like the implicits you want or whatever, and you also get you get more sockets because it can bypass the amount of sockets. And then you hit it with the vow and you pray to God that one time no whammies and you don't get fucked. I think that's pretty much how it goes.
3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2.
Okay, in all of the tests and footage and everything I had seen, this is completely new. This caught me 100% off guard. I love that they call it the Citadel also. Now we have 2 ARPGs, one of which will remain nameless, that have citadels in them.
This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber Act boss.
So an Uber Act boss. So that must be one of the bosses at the end of each act, like the Count dude, the King. I don't know the end of Act 3 boss. I never made it to the end of Act 3. So it's got to be the end boss of or maybe just a boss within the Uber Act. But I'm assuming it's like the finale boss would be my guess. Or Mephisto.
But in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it, as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is...
Dude, there's trees for everything. Who could it be behind there? And maybe it's the beast thing itself. I mean, it was kind of like red and glowy, right? You think that's where you see the actual like tentacle beast guy from the cinematic in the beginning? How is this less complex than PoE 1? I think it's from like a crafting perspective and from the amount of mechanics and stuff to know perspective, it's less. But to be honest, it is more complex than I thought it was going to be. I think it's probably safe to assume. Tell me if I'm wrong, but like I felt like when I was starting to see PoE 2 pitched in my first testing stuff, I was like, okay, they are really opening up the demographic of the game to a lot, as much wider audience, and they're moving things like the colored sockets and making it where like everything can be 6-link, et cetera, et cetera. They're really trying to, simplify it a bit. But then you see this shit's like, oh no, what am I thinking? Like, this is GGG. This shit is over the top. Like, it has a million different mechanics. Arguably, you can juice maps even more. Like, I got baited into thinking, like, okay, it's dumbed down for peanut brains like myself. We'll be good. And then I watch and it's like, okay, or not. Thanks, everyone, for watching today. It was good chat with y'all. I hope y'all are excited as I am. I guarantee every single person here is pretty much as excited as I am for PoE 2. It's looking like I'm not going to be playing any other games, is what it's looking like. And that come December 6th, my family's going to have to say goodbye because I don't think I'm really going to be doing much else other than playing PoE 2. See you tomorrow.